court will now reconvene. I assume both sides are ready.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
I can understand the defense acting like this. However, why do you seem so distraught, Mr. Edgeworth?
That is... It's nothing, Your Honor. What's wrong with Edgeworth? Looks like something unexpected just happened to him.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please tell the results of the court the results of the handwriting analysis on Miss Impax's suicide note.
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we've discovered that this suicide note is a forgery.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This note was not written by Miss Impax herself. It's a fake.
Order. Mr. Edgeworth, would you care to explain what is going on? If this was not written by Miss Impax, then who wrote it?
We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Carida. Mr. Carida? Well. Looks like Miss Impax never left a suicide note after all. Not necessarily. She never wrote anything about Ungard. Just because this one's a fake doesn't mean there isn't a real one. However, Your Honor, even though this suicide note is indeed a fake, Mr. Ungard could not have known that, and so that fact remains unchanged. Acting under the assumption that it was real, he had plotted to possess it.
That does sound very plausible.
This theory that Ungard had no idea that the suicide note was fake. Something seems wrong with that. Well, yeah, because he's already said that he was watching him. The defense believes the theory the prosecution has stated contradicts testimony. If everything the prosecution has proven up to this point is true, then it's impossible for Mr. Ungard to not have known it was a fake. Because he's been spying on him.
What is this little item called again?
It's a video camera, Your Honor. Well, a very small one, but...
Oh, that's right, a camera. Ah, you kids and your fancy toys nowadays.
Mr. Edgeworth, earlier you claimed Mr. Ungard knew of the existence of this note because he was spying on the victim. Isn't that right? If that were true, then that means Mr. Ungard would have known that the victim had forged the note.
Yeah. So then, the defendant knew this suicide note was a fake. And if that's true, then the situation has suddenly changed in a very dramatic way.
Exactly, Your Honor. The prosecution's theory as to what Mr. Ungard's motive for murder was, it suddenly disappeared into thin air. Now, in fairness, if I were the prosecution, the argument I would make in response to that is, it actually doesn't matter if the note is fake at all. Because the whole point of Ungard getting the note was to prevent a scandal. It doesn't matter if the note is fake or not, its contents being revealed would still be a scandal. Just because the accusation is fake doesn't mean it won't stick to somebody, right? Like, even if they're proven innocent. So I would argue it doesn't matter if the note's fake or not, the motive would stay the same, if the goal was just to prevent a scandal related to Matt's image. It's also remember to stay hydrated. It's not as if Mr. Ungard monitored Mr. Carida 24 hours a day. Well, then I can throw that one right back in your face. Then who's to say he even knew that it existed, that it was in the bear in the first place? Perhaps the victim wrote the note in a place Mr. Ungard didn't know of. Well, right back at you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't you show us proof the victim made the forgery at an unknown place?
Order. Mr. Edgeworth, it looks like this time it's you who's dug his own grave.
As I figured.
Huh? As you figured?
As I figured, it came down to this after all.
Mr. Edgeworth, you are not making any sense.
When I heard the results of the handwriting analysis, I thought this might happen. The question is, what next? What next? If the prosecution can't prove Mr. Ungard's motive through the evidence, then we must prove it from another angle.
Well, I agree with you there.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call a witness to the stand at this time.
Oh, well, that's fine.
However, this witness is a little unusual. Edgeworth stuttering. That's not like him at all.
Unusual? What sort of witness is this person, Mr. Edgeworth? Is it another parrot?
This witness is one who is perfectly fit to answer once and for all the question of, who was it that hired Shelley DeKiller to commit murder? That's impossible. No such person exists that can answer that question with such certainty.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth, who is this witness? Yes, go on, who is it?
The man himself, Mr. Shelley DeKiller.
Oh, Mr. DeKiller. Wait! Shelley DeKiller? You mean the killer? I mean, the assassin?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's coming here? To the witness stand?
Well, yes, in a manner of speaking. I recognize that this is a very unusual circumstance, so I ask for your permission.
Well, Mr. Wright?
Yes?
Is this all right with you?
Do I have a choice here? I can't really do much else to drag this trial out. The defense has no objections, Your Honor.
I wonder if it really is all right to do this.
Very well, then. The prosecution calls its witness to the stand. Edgeworth, is there no other way left to us? Now then, witness. Your name and your, occupation, please.
Very good, sir.
My name is Shelley DeKiller, and I am a professional assassin.
I say, what is going on here?
Your Honor.
How can you remain so calm? And what is the meaning of this two-way radio?
Actually, Your Honor, it was delivered to me just now, and it came with a condition. As long as we do not trace its source, Mr. DeKiller will testify to this court. So this must be what the urgent phone call he got earlier was about.
Oh no, this will not do. I cannot allow this in my court. First of all, we can't really be sure this is Mr. DeKiller himself.
Witness, please present some sort of proof you are, in fact, Shelley DeKiller. I understand. Please wait a second. I'm so hungry. Maya!
The voice. Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this?
The defense has no objections to this person. We are satisfied that this man is indeed Shelley DeKiller. I feel like we probably should have some slightly different issues with this, however, but whatever.
It looks like we've run into yet another unexpected turn of events. Well, it doesn't seem like we have too many choices under these circumstances, so...
Now then, witness. There's one thing I would like to confirm before we speak of anything else. And what would that be? At the request of a client, you killed Mr. Juan Carida. Is this correct? It is, as you say. I did indeed kill Mr. Carida.
Go.
Now that we have answered that, let's move on to the name of your client. Very well.
This is all just a bad dream. Yes, that's it, a bad dream.
Shelley DeKiller. What's he gonna say? There is something I must first state. To an assassin, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. And that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand. It is my wish that you grasp this concept before I give you the name of my client.
Mr. DeKiller seems to be a very clever man. I'd almost say he seems to be mocking us.
While he may well appear to be our enemy, Your Honor, Mr. DeKiller is only stating the truth. He is no hypocrite. He has always stood by this one belief.
You mean about this trust between his clients and himself thing?
Well, his client didn't trust him.
It seems to be a level of trust beyond what people like me can comprehend. Well, Mr. Wright, are you ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. There's no way to know what's coming next, so stay cool and collected, Phoenix. I think I gotta press on everything. We can hear anything you have to say later. Can you please tell us your clients? I don't think you understand your place, Mr. Attorney. I said this is something I must first state. Do you know what the word first means? Sorry, go on.
Well, it appears this is one witness you can't badger, Mr. Wright.
That's only because you don't know about my situation. The trust between you and your client? I provide my services in a fast and efficient manner. In exchange, I trust my clients are discreet about me and my identity. He wasn't. If too many people know my face, it would be quite troublesome.
And that's why you're testifying in this manner.
This is the first time one of my clients has ever been accused of murder. I must preserve the killer name so that my clients can trust me. But couldn't someone stab you in the back and break your trust? It has never happened before, but if it ever did, yes, that person wouldn't be my client for very long. They would certainly...
That's enough, please, no more.
Very well. It was only a hypothetical anyway. That seems a little strange to me. I mean, you're about to tell us the name of your client. I would think this would be very bad for them. It doesn't matter to me. This client has already broken the rules and acted outside of their prescribed role.
Their role?
This person tried to implicate another of the crime in order to save themselves. And this is a trespass that cannot be forgiven.
Who gave you the right to be so high and mighty?
To the gentleman who spoke just now. Excuse me, but would you care to die?
No, I didn't say anything.
The judge had better watch himself. We understand, so please tell us the name of your client. I'm afraid I cannot do that. I still have a few things to say before I do. Ah, that egomaniacal. It's not good for your health to be so aggravated. You won't live very long if you let everything bother you. Somehow, that coming from an assassin makes it less than comforting. I don't really care about all this extra fluff, just tell us the name already. Patience, try to calm down a little. Okay. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. So here's the thing. We don't present the camera to him yet, I am quite sure. Anyway. What am I supposed to say right now? Oh, this has changed. I was just pressing on everything again. It was one of those, it's a double press, you know? Sorry, but I was wondering about something you just said. You said your client had already broken the rules. A person who frames another is the worst kind of human. And that's why you feel you can betray this person? I have no trust relationship with a client who can't understand their assigned role. Just my luck, an assassin with a conscience, who would have figured. Now then, everyone, do you think you can understand my logic? This case just kept getting better and better. If you can't, then I'm afraid we can't proceed. Everyone understands your point, I think, really? In that case, I believe I am prepared to disclose the information you seek. You've made it crystal clear you value trust over all else. I believe we are ready. Excellent. Yes.
What is it?
Now I can't bring myself to ask the client's name. If you can't ask it, Mr. Wright, then I will. Witness. What is the name of your client who requested the murder of Mr. Juan Corrida? That person's name is... Adrian Andrews.
What? Witness. That's not who you told me it was earlier.
Pray tell, what are you talking about, Mr. Prosecutor? I should think I know my own client, and it is Adrian Andrews.
What? This can't be. On the phone earlier.
What's going on here? My guess is Mr. the Killer just stabbed Mr. Edgeworth in the back. Stabbed Edgeworth in the back? I'm sure in order to get an audience with this court, Mr. the Killer told him a different name. Matt Ungard, perhaps. I knew it.
This is outrageous. I was deceived. This witness is telling a very serious lie.
But you were the one who summoned this witness.
You Shelley the Killer.
My testimony is the truth. The defendant at the moment is Matt Ungard, am I correct? All I wish to do is help procure his acquittal. Wow. All of a sudden, it feels like we can actually win this. Yeah.
The prosecution has failed to provide a motive and has instead provided the suicide note, which is a forgery created by the victim. Furthermore, there's a possibility the defendant himself knew it was fake. But most definitive of all, we have heard from the assassin himself the name of his client. Mr. the Killer's client who requested the murder was not the defendant at all.
No.
With all this evidence, it is obvious to me that means Mr. Matt Ungard is innocent.
I seem to have caused you all a bit of confusion. Please continue your discussion and call me when you have reached a verdict.
Bailiff, please bring Miss Adrian Andrews in immediately.
What now? With the way this is going, Ungard will be found innocent. This may well be our last chance to save Maya. Yeah, but Edgeworth's right, the killer is lying. And Ungard, my client, I know he's guilty. Can I live with myself if I win this?
Who would have believed the prosecution's own witness would absolve the defendant?
Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to further question the witness. Shelley the Killer is certainly lying under oath.
It wasn't me. Listen, everyone, please, that testimony just now, it was all one big lie. Miss Andrews, the suicide note may have been a fake, but that man, Matt, he's the reason Celeste died. At Juan's death, it was all because he got pulled into Matt's twisted world. That testimony just now, you have to believe me, it was a horrible, horrible lie.
But Mr. the Killer himself has testified. He's named you as his client.
No, that's not true.
Also, there's quite a bit of evidence that points to you. The knife and the button, donning the nickel samurai costume.
But that's...
You even have a motive. We know Miss Impax was a large part of your life. You wanted to follow her and you wanted revenge against the one who hurt her, the two who hurt her. I would say you have plenty of reasons to want them both dead.
No. Mr. Wright. You know the truth. Tell them. Tell them the real story. Who's the real killer is. Tell them. Please, help me. Yes, I know the truth.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe we've reached the end of this trial. Therefore, I ask the defense for any final words or opinions.
I have to decide. Do I take the not guilty verdict and save Maya? Or do I throw this chance away and wait for Gumshoe's new evidence? What am I supposed to do? If you request the verdict, you get a bad ending. Phoenix. I can't do it, Mia. I can't accept a not guilty. You are a lawyer. I know. But Matt Ungard is a killer. A murderer. I can't let him get away with this. I can't let someone else take the fall. If I let Miss Andrews be convicted, then I am no better than Ungard. And even though I don't want to admit it, I have to face the fact that it is because of Edgeworth that I now know the real truth. He could have gotten Ungard convicted so many times over, but he never took a single one of those chances. If I take this verdict right now, I'd be betraying his trust. His trust? I never thought about it until now. I trust him? My boyfriend? Yes, you do.
Mr. Wright, your opinion, please.
The defense requests that we be allowed to further question Mr. the Killer.
Am I hearing you correctly, Mr. Wright?
Right.
But, that witness has cleared your client through his testimony. Your job here is done.
I'm not done yet. To see through the witness's lies and find the truth. That is my job, Your Honor. There's still more evidence to look at. And I'm sure that once those pieces arrive here in this very courtroom, a miracle will occur.
Very well. The trial will continue. Mr. Edgeworth, please re-establish connection with Mr. the Killer.
Right away, Your Honor. Has a verdict been reached? Before that, we would like to talk with you a little more. About? All you needed from me was the name of All you needed from me was the name of my client. What else could you need me for? Well, actually, we would like to hear everything you know about this case. That is how things are, usually done. What is he talking about? Usually done.
But what shall we have him testify about now?
Mr. the Killer, if you don't mind, please testify about your client in more detail. You legal people and your procedures. Is it any wonder no one likes to go to court? As I have already stated a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime, while pretending to be the first person to discover the body and enter the scene. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Corrida was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button. That fact is what I was referring to when I said that my client had broken the rules.
This is a most unexpected turn of events for the, fifth time now. However, this time everything has finally been revealed.
Just a second, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth?
We still have the cross-examination to do.
But you don't need to question testimony like this, do you, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, the defense will question the witness, as if I have a choice here.
Huh? Why? What this witness has said is nothing but beneficial to the defense's case. If you scrutinize the testimony, then
I'll expose the lies in that oh-so-beneficial testimony, I suppose. I don't understand what's going on anymore. That makes two of us. So, Can we disprove this part with anything we have? Can we prove Adrian didn't know from the beginning he was gonna be dead? No, probably, because we established earlier everything to do with when the knife was done, right? Creation and planting. Alright, let's just press on things.
What is it, Mr. Wright?
If I press him the wrong way, it might raise suspicion on his end, but I have to do something to waste more time. Witness, about requesting a hit. Yes? How much is your fee? I see you are also quite a dark-hearted man, Mr. Attorney. Huh? If you would like to talk business, we can do so after the trial.
No, I'm not thinking. Mr. Wright!
Yes?
You? You want to kill me? You want me dead, don't you?
What? Why would you think something like that, Your Honor?
Guilty! Mr. Phoenix Wright, you're hereby declared guilty.
Witness, let's continue. Why did you disclose the name of your client? They are your clients, are they not? I would think that most people wouldn't be able to overlook hiring a person hiring another to the kill. If I had a problem with such a thing, I wouldn't be very effective at my job. Ah, yeah. Well, a change in occupation might be good for you. However, I will say this. Even though I am the one who does the deed, my clients are always the real guilty party. That goes without saying, Mr. Killer. And their fate is to live with the knowledge of their guilt on their shoulders. However, my client this time thought they could run away from their guilt. Are you talking about the button and the knife? Yes, and my business card. Oh, this card. So that no one has to waste their time, including the police, I always make it a point to make things as easy as possible.
You try to make things easy?
My business card makes it very easy to identify who carried out the service. He's pretty devoted to his work. But to disregard everything, to go and stab the deceased with a knife, and even hide my card from sight, that is something I cannot overlook. It's really hard to tell if he's truthful or being vague here. What does the card say exactly? Yeah. The fact that she was carrying the card around with her publicly is a very strange thing to do if she knew what it was about, right? So you're saying most clients wouldn't do such a thing? That is correct. Usually, most people try to create an alibi for themselves. If you should use my services, Mr. Attorney, I suggest you plan for your alibi too. No, I already told you I have no intention of using your services ever. Why does he keep looking at me like I'm the one on trial? From the very beginning? That is correct. From before my client visited the room. All of my clients know precisely what the situation is at all times. I wonder if that's really true. That's odd. Yes, this was the statement I homed in on immediately. But what do I put there? The card? I'm not 100% on this, but it is just like, why would Adrian take the card from the scene of the crime? Or not, well, not why would she take it? Because if it was to frame Matt, that's one thing. But why was she carrying it around with her in that case, right? Surely you wouldn't do that if you knew. Fuck it. God damn it. I wasn't super confident on that, but... Why would she leave something with her fingerprints there? It's gotta be this statement, right? Like... Yeah, why'd she leave her fingerprints at the scene? Yeah, let's go. Thank you so much for taking the time to testify, Mr. Killer. What is the meaning of that attitude? When Adrian Andrews entered the victim's room, your client had no idea Juan Corrida had been murdered.
But how? How do you know that?
From this wine glass, Your Honor.
The glass?
Mr. De Killer's supposed client thought Mr. Corrida had only fainted. Which is... Oh, fuck, right, of course. That was how we established the knife thing, of course. We established he didn't have the knife in there and she thought he wasn't dead, I forgot.
But isn't that just a part of that Adrian Andrews' calculated plan?
That's not possible, Your Honor. The glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planned, they never would have left their fingerprints behind.
I see your point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion?
Strangely enough, I had the exact same thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon? Isn't it a waste of time to ask about such a minor detail? It is not a very important point anyway, correct? I'm afraid you are mistaken. If Adrian Andrews really is your client, as you claim, then your client should have had knowledge of Mr. Corrida's death. If not, then that can only mean Adrian Andrews was never your client at all. How strange.
Yes?
Why is it that the attorney has yet to raise an objection at this absurd situation? Phoenix, if the killer figures out what we're up to, we're in real trouble. Yeah, I know. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm surprised. You know you can't say things like that without any evidence. Sorry.
Well, that was an awfully weak objection for the two of you.
Anyway, I am positive there was a contradiction in that testimony. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken. Very well. Right now I have to buy us more time. While we wait for the items the killer left behind to get here. I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies with those items. This request came to me, about a week ago. It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory, and I believe I have made no mistakes. Do we happen to know when the press conference was made?
So you physically met your client, huh?
That is correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you cross-examination, please.
"1 week ago? Are you sure?" "Yes, I am quite sure. I, of course, had my own preparations, and I was barely able to finish. When you request my services, Mr. Attorney, I hope you will keep that in mind. Please, stop." In any case, my client this time had a very specific date and time in mind. A specified date and time. "Did you ask why on that specific night?" "No. I try to fulfill all the conditions of my client's request. But as for why, I only had my suspicions." "Your suspicions, huh? So what are those suspicions you had? Why did your client request that night?" "I'm sure it was all for the bear." "The bear?" "My client spoke of it. I'm sure there will be a bear-shaped figurine in Juan Carita's room. I would like you to retrieve that item for me." He must be talking about this bear puzzle. Inside that figurine was a suicide note. Naturally, the victim brought it with him to his hotel room. He was planning to publicly disclose its contents at the press conference, after all. "That is correct. And if I had not done the job that night, I would not have known where that bear figurine was." "I see.
Well, Mr. Wright, was that yes?"
The testimony just now has made one thing very clear, and that is... the client knew the secret of the bear figurine. Huh? Why is everyone so quiet?
Mr. Wright, I think all of us already knew that.
Oh, really? Witness, please continue with your testimony. What was the other option? Press for, like... I don't know, I clicked on the wrong fucking button. I just wasn't expecting the testimony to not get updated, so I'm very surprised right now. It was not important. Sounds plausible, but in the end, it's just his conjecture. No, Your Honor, I don't think it's very important. Alright, we'll come back to that later, I guess. I just really was sure something would get added to the testimony about the bear. So you physically met Adrian Andrews, right? Of course I did. What was that? What was that brief pause? Witness, I would like for you to give us a few more details. I always meet my clients as a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail. And why is that? That's because I value the trust between a client and myself above all else. And the only way to establish that is to speak to the client while looking them in the eye.
Well, Mr. Wright?
It was very important. Of course it was important, Your Honor. If the killer had met the client before his murder, met the client before the murder, then it's unlikely he is mistaken.
So you're saying his client really was Adrian Andrews?
I guess so. You see, it is just as I said. I'm so lost. Who the heck am I supposed to be helping here? Calm down, Phoenix. Think carefully and relax. None of this got added. So your client was Adrian Andrews. That is correct. Well, he says the two of them met. But if they did, then there shouldn't be anything wrong with the killer's testimony. Will you be different now? Press further. This isn't any different, is it? Yes, it was important. Please add it. Please. I'm begging you. Update the testimony. Why are there so many prompts if it's not going to change anything? Yes, it's very important. Please, I'm begging you to update the testimony. So, I was just pressing on everything again, because I didn't know what else to do. And I chose it wasn't important on the line about meeting Adrian at the bar. And he's just said him when referring to Adrian. It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. That's when I thought I can trust this person as a client. Yeah, yes, it was very important. Who would have guessed that you had to say it was not important to get something new out of them? If I heard what I think I heard just now, then I think I've got him. Your Honor, I believe the testimony just now was of the utmost importance.
Huh? Really?
If that's the case, witness, please include the statement just now in your testimony. Very well. Adrian Andrews is not a man. I would like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at a bar and took the request at that time. Yes, that is correct. And that's when you thought he was trustworthy. How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct. I'm sorry, but that's an impossible tale. What? Shelley the Killer. You have never met the real Adrian Andrews. Why would you say that? Because you made one very big slip-up. About her. So what is the issue? What did you just say now? About her? If you had ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you she is a woman. Oh! Order in the court!
Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this?
This witness testified to the following. That he always meets clients face to face when taking the request.
But he's never met Adrian Andrews in person.
Yes, Your Honor. That is exactly the point. That means Mr. the Killer's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews. Oh, fuck me, dude. Oh, Jesus.
Mr. Edgeworth, I understand your logic on this one. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake?
I believe it has to do with her name, Your Honor.
Her name?
Yes, Adrian Andrews is without a doubt a very androgynous name.
Yes, I see.
Unluckily for Mr. Killer, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Adrian Andrews' gender. And so he simply picked the wrong gender to go with.
What? What's going on? Shelley the Killer. This court demands an explanation.
I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another. So does that mean you remember something different now? Yes, of course. Please, if you would allow me to testify one more time. I know he's just going to spit out more lies.
Very well, give us the truth. But this time, please give us the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, now I remember. I took that request by mail. There have been times when I took a job without having met my client, despite what I said about 15 seconds ago. The request was for the murder of Juan Carida and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man.
So you took this job through a letter?
He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony, which means he is definitely lying. Be careful, Phoenix. If you break the assassin's testimony completely, it's over for us. I know, I can't make him suspicious, but I think we're okay. like we can do this. As long as he's standing there across from me, no matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it.
Now then, let's begin the cross-examination.
I want to press on the 2 or 3 other things first. 2 or 3 other things? Yes. And what were these other things? A few other things that could have nothing to do with this case. What should I do? It'd be really bad if I push his buttons the wrong way. Press further. Whether or not they're related to this case is for the court to decide. Mr. Attorney. Yes. Everything I have said from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client. Which is why I wonder what is pushing you to continue with this cross-examination. Could it be that you are planning to betray your own client? I smell the stench of a backstabber. And should you turn out to be one... Wait. Uh-oh, this is looking really bad. Can I save real quick? I'm going to press further. Witness, this is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what these other jobs your client requested were. If it is truly that important, I suppose I don't have much of a choice. The bear figurine. The bear figurine? After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine. I was told this job was just as important as the actual killing. And where was that figurine? It was inside Mr. Koreeda's suitcase. And then, what did you do next? I handed it over to my client right away. You gave it to your client? Interesting.
This certainly sounds important to me. Witness, please include this in your statement.
I was gonna home in on the suitcase thing there because of the guitar case, but that's not actually what it says. I found this figurine at Mr. Ungard's mansion. If you gave it to Miss Andrews, then what was it doing there? I was waiting for her there. That was also part of the plan to frame Mr. Ungard, I'm sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any problems with this?
Do I? Yes. So the killer says he gave the figurine to Miss Andrews. But I know somewhere in that statement there's a contradiction. And yet, I know that if I present something trivial here, he will cut the connection on his end. If you want to make a strong point, Phoenix, you have to present strong evidence. Hey, let me save the game again real quick. Witness, let's go over this one more time. You gave Miss Andrews the bear figurine, and she told you to take the bear and wait for her at Ungard Mansion. Is that correct? Yes. Where are you going with this? Well, I think maybe you might have remembered a few things incorrectly.
What?
This is a battle of wits. I can't let up on him. I don't think it's possible for Miss Andrews to have been the recipient of this bear. Because the suicide note still exists. She wanted to burn the suicide note, as she has told us several times. Shelley to Killer. If you had really given the bear to Miss Andrews, then this item should not have been inside it. This item? I see where you're going. Yep. That's where I'm going.
Where is everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase?
Your Honor, please think back to Miss Andrews' testimony. And I was going to burn it, for her sake. If even for a single minute, this bear had actually been in Miss Andrews' hands, I'm sure she would have taken the suicide note out and burned it.
Order, order, order. So that's where you two are going.
So by the very fact this suicide note was still inside the bear, it tells us your client didn't know how to disassemble the puzzle.
Which means...
It means, Your Honor, that it's impossible for Adrian Andrews to be the client.
Oh. Well, order, order.
Mr. Phoenix Wright. I'm sure I mentioned this before. How I hate traitors above all else. I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement.
No, that's not...
That's enough. If that is your intention, then there's only one thing for me to do.
Wait, please.
Gentlemen, ladies, please excuse me. I have a matter that I must attend to.
No, please. Not that. Please wait.
Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end and I may stay my hand. Otherwise...
What in the... Mr. Wright? Are you... Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
I didn't understand this witness's outburst just now. Do you think there's a need to hear more testimony, or is this enough?
Well, we should. Edgeworth, we can't do this. If we keep this up, Maya, she'll... The prosecution...
What has come over everyone? Even your...
The prosecution... rests.
What is going on around here?
The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor.
What? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. If the prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that's the case, then even though I am reluctant, I must believe Mr. Shelley DeKiller's testimony is accurate. That would mean that Shelley DeKiller's client is Adrian Andrews. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
If I end the trial here right now, then your client, Matt Ungard, would be declared innocent, and in his place, Adrian Andrews would be charged with murder.
Miss Andrews would be charged with murder.
The prosecution has no further questions, so we will now hear the defense's final remarks. Bailiff, please bring the defendant Matt Ungard to the stand.
The items from DeKeller's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but it looks like our time has run out. I can't believe it. The outcome now lies in your hands.
Dude, did the old guy finally decide?
To be honest, I can't think of you as a truly innocent and good person. You've done enough evil to drive a woman to suicide. But, at least on the charge of murder, it would appear you are innocent.
So, I guess even the old fuddy-duddy figured me out.
Mr. Ungard?
What an atrocious lawyer I have, giving his own client up like this. And that refreshing like a spring breeze crap, it's just as atrocious, don't you agree? Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer? Should I side with justice, or should I save Maya's life? You'd better get Ungard a guilty sentence, okay? But if I did that, Maya will die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as the murderer. Do I say he's guilty or not guilty? Either choice I make, someone's life is going to end. It all hinges on what I choose.
Well, now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. If the person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews, then your client, Mr. Ungard, is innocent.
There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer's gonna say what I want, aren't you? Right. I can't do this, but I have to decide something. I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. My client, Matt Ungard, is... I'm pretty sure it's a bad ending if you say not guilty.
We are waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Mr. Ungard, your client deserves an answer.
Maya, I'm sorry. Matt Ungard is... Franziska von Karma?
What are you doing here? Ow!
You see now, don't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off of that scruffy fool. Did you bring them? The final pieces? Do you have them? You should know better than to ask that, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Von Karma is perfect in every way. The evidence is here in perfect condition. Don't worry about Scruffy, he's fine. His injuries are minor. All of the items are inside this.
What a filthy old coat this is.
That's Gumshoes. I can spot his tattered rags anywhere. I apologize for its ugliness, but there was nothing else to wrap the items in. I fought long and hard this whole trial, all for what's inside that raggedy coat. I'm sure that inside that coat lies a crucial piece of evidence. Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence.
Your final evidence? This trial is already over. All that remains is for me to hand down my verdict. I do not believe any evidence presented now would change the outcome of this trial.
What? Your Honor, it is our duty to examine every piece of evidence down to the last. I request that Miss Von Karma be allowed to present these pieces of evidence.
I suppose you are right, Mr. Edgeworth. I grant permission to do so. However, one obvious rule applies here. If these items do not bring up any new points, then they will not be accepted by this court. Now, Miss Von Karma, if you please.
These pieces of evidence are left by the killer during his escape from the police.
He must have been in quite a rush.
Yes, Your Honor. The killer left 3 pieces of evidence. Somewhere among the evidence we're about to see, there will be something that will turn this whole situation around, like a miracle. I'm sure of it. That's all we can hope for. The first item is a pistol. Does the killer's pistol have anything to do with this case? No. I'm pretty sure there was no gun involved in this case. There's no real benefit to hearing about it. Please present the next piece of evidence. The second piece of evidence is this videotape. I bet the killer took that from Ungard's mansion. Question. Have you checked the contents of that tape? Unfortunately, there was no time to. Oh yeah. But I would speculate this tape is very important.
Why would you say that?
Because he came back to his hideout for it. The killer went back for it? That's right. It looks like he was trying to recover it. He injured 3 of the officers at the site. But somehow it looks like they managed to protect it from the killer. Shelley the killer is no ordinary man. The last piece of evidence is this bellboy's uniform. Is that the No, not needed. I don't think this is going to help us very much. Thank you very much, Miss Von Karma. I think that's enough. That's all I have to present, Your Honor.
It's just as I thought.
And what is that, Your Honor?
I'm sure were we under normal circumstances, these items from Shelley the Killer's hideout would be very important clues. However, our question is not who did the killing.
It is who is the client.
Yes, that's correct. And these 3 items do not tell us anything about that. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Von Karma. You may step down now.
Wait, Your Honor. Please allow me to examine this new evidence.
Overruled. This court already has all the evidence it needs to hand down a verdict.
Wonderful. Absolutely splendid. This judge is such a brilliant man, isn't he? Is this the end? Phoenix, I knew it. There was no such thing as a miracle in this world, is there? I think you're wrong. I think they do exist. But you have to make that miracle happen. You've come this far, you can't give up now. But, no matter how you think about it, it's... Try, for my sake. Just think about it for a second. There are two ways out of this situation for us. Two. The first, make Ungard wish from the bottom of his soul for a guilty verdict. Huh? The killer will always place his client's wishes first. If Ungard himself wishes to be convicted, then he'll let his hostage go. That may be true, but that's asking me to do the impossible. The second way, force the killer to end his contract with Ungard. If the killer were to no longer think of Ungard as his client, then he'd let Maya go. Mia, that's even more impossible. He's a man who values his duty towards his clients above all else. I know both of these seem like impossible feats at first, but if you could make either one happen, it would truly be a miracle. I can do you one better. I'll do both. The bigger problem is, the judge has already said he doesn't need any more evidence. The pieces he was just shown, he's not accepting them. Phoenix, think things through from the other side. Isn't that what has always worked for us? The other side? Wait, does she mean? You mean to turn things around? Phoenix, the judge says he doesn't need the evidence. If that's the case, then who does need it? The person who needs the evidence. The defense, prosecution, and the judge. We have seen all the pieces of evidence. And that is how we've come to know the truth. But there's one person who has yet to see them all. And that person does not know the truth. The truth. It may be what will bring about that miracle in the end.
There are no objections this time, correct? Now then, I will pronounce my verdict.
Why don't we all respectfully sit back and listen, kids?
I've already told you, Mr. Wright, this court does not need any more evidence.
I'm not saying it is us that needs the evidence, Your Honor.
Then, you want to show the evidence to that person?
Yes, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, for you to ask with such passion, I'll grant you one chance.
One chance.
Please show your evidence to who you think is the right person.
That's impossible. To turn this situation around in one try.
One try, that's all I'll permit.
I have to try to remember everything that's happened up until this point. Think, Phoenix, think! There must be a way to save Maya while taking Ungard down at the same time.
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's not waste any more time. Who would you like to show evidence to?
I want to show evidence to Shelley the Killer.
I see. And now, tell this court what piece of evidence you'd like to show this person.
The videotape we just received.
Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think there is some merit in showing this evidence to that witness.
Bailiff, please bring in the transceiver from earlier.
All right, it looks like I managed to convince him. Maya, she's okay, right? Didn't I tell you to concern yourself with bringing about a speedy end to this trial? Now, if I understand correctly, you wish to show me one piece of evidence. Yes, one is all I need. I have here a videotape that was found at your hideout. I heard you injured 3 officers in your attempt to get this back. That was most regrettable. However, it was an order from my client. I was told to protect that videotape. I thought so. I'm afraid I seem to have failed in that regard. Do you know the contents of this tape? I was sternly told by my client to not watch it, so I have absolutely no idea. Actually, you are on this tape.
Me.
There was a video camera hidden at the crime scene. Your actions were being recorded.
What?
Is that true, Mr. Wright?
Who? Who was it that planted a camera? Well, the only person who could have placed a camera at the scene of the crime would be your client, naturally.
That was Adrian Andrews?
Be quiet and listen, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Your client specified a place and time for you, isn't that right?
Yes.
That was so they could film you.
I had no idea.
Mr. Wright, why would my client do such a thing? I would like to know why. Why did Matt Ungard film the crime scene? The reason why he did that is my ticket out of this whole mess. There's only one reason why your client would secretly film the scene. They wanted to blackmail you. Your client once told me something very interesting. We were talking about you and this is what they said. But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone. Least of all assassins. Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. Yes, that's where the video comes in. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. Your client didn't trust you at all. They were thinking of using this video to blackmail you. What do you have to say to that, Shelley the Killer?
Oh.
It looks like I was being deceived from the very start. Yes, by a natural. That's the kind of person they are. Your client is a person who only thinks and plots of how to use the people around them, to protect themselves from any and all dangers that may arise. That is the true nature of your client. I have one question for the witness. Yes. You told us one thing numerous times during your testimony. You said you detest traitors most of all. Yes, that's right. But what if that traitor was your own client? What would you do then? That's obvious. I would break our contract in that case. And then, that client would become my next target. For the honor of the killer name, even if it takes an eternity, I would follow that person to the ends of the earth to execute my punishment. I see. That's all I wanted to know. So the traitor becomes the killer's next target. Ah, I get it. This is how we'll turn this case around. Mr. Wright. Yes? My contract with my client is over as of now. I seem to have a new job on my hands. I will now return to you your precious item.
What the? I'm not an item!
Maya, I thought I'd never see you again. Oh, thank goodness.
This trial appears to have come to its conclusion. However, I am sort of, I don't quite know what just happened there with the client and the witness and Miss Von Karma, where did that?
She always has you in her sights. Now, I do believe it's time to finally hand down a verdict. Mr. Ungard, it looks like somehow you've got what you wanted. You'll finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly. You should be happy. But before that, I'd like to make one final statement. Sometime in the near future, one very betrayed assassin may appear before you. Needless to say, that man is very good at what he does. I'm sure you would understand what I mean if you watch this video.
Help me?
Now then, Your Honor, the verdict, if you please.
Is this all right with you, Mr. Wright?
We have finally reached the end of a very long battle. Whether he's convicted or acquitted, there's no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix, please tell which way your heart tells you. Right, Chief. Guilty. Matt Ungard. Even though I am a lawyer, I cannot make your crime disappear. I think a guilty verdict is appropriate here.
Me? My wonderful self? Guilty?
Even if you got an acquittal, the instant you set foot outside the detention center, your life would be in danger. No matter which way you look at it. You can't run away from your crime anymore. Get fucked.
As always, it looks like we've uncovered the real truth.
I don't remember you helping out much in this.
Mr. Edgeworth, how is Matt on guard?
I've left Miss Von Karma in charge of his incarceration. I'm sure he's getting a full-course meal of whip leather right about now.
Very good. That was a close one, wasn't it, witness?
Yes. I plan to pay my debt to society for my own crime, Your Honor. The first time I was called to the witness stand during this trial, all I felt was despair. She must be talking about the time Edgeworth really went after her. I guess she's trying to forgive him for what he did. This witness, how should I That's no concern to me. I don't know, I think the better line to have repeated there would have been, now before you die, testify, you know. But after that, when I was alone at the detention center, that's the first time I really saw myself for who I am. Fuck that up. And today, when the two of you used your combined strength to convict Matt, I felt like I'd finally been saved. Wow, this is the first time I've ever seen her smile. I am really happy that you two were in charge of this case. I really don't know how to express how I feel at this moment. This is the first time I felt comfortable with myself, with who I am. Thank you so much, everyone. Wow, we fixed her, just like that.
It looks like we've resolved everything at last. As for myself, there are still a few things I'm confused about, but everyone seems to be in good spirits, and that is good enough for me. That is all. Court is adjourned.
You were great out there, Phoenix. What I did out there was right, wasn't it? This is the first time you've not gotten your client off. You got them a guilty verdict this time, and yet we still saved the city. But you have to look past all of that to what's really important. You now realize that there's something more than just getting a not guilty, right? Yes, I understand now. Phoenix, think back for a second. Think to the moments before Miss Von Karma arrived with the final pieces of evidence. Think about the incredible decision you had to make.
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements.
Should I save Maya's life? My client, Matt Ungard, is... Is he guilty, or is he not guilty? Those were your choices then, and your answer. Your answer spoke to what being a lawyer means to you. Right. Edgeworth? I have good news. Maya is now safe in police custody.
Really?
Pearls?
You're telling us the truth, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, she's quite safe. She's on her way here as we speak in a patrol car.
Ah, Mystic Maya. Mystic Maya's safe. You did it. You really did it, Mr. Nick.
Ow, she punches deceptively hard for a kid.
I believed in you. I kept saying to myself, Mr. Nick will save her. Mr. Nick will save her. Wow.
Thanks.
Oh,
What's wrong?
Miss Von Karma.
About earlier. Thanks.
Ow.
Why are you still smiling, Mr. Phoenix Wright? You lost. Your perfect win record has now been crushed, and yet you are still happy. I don't think you'll ever understand, Miss Von Karma.
How dare you?
Don't worry. She may in time. After all, I was like that myself until a year ago. Edgeworth? For my own personal victories and for guilty verdicts. I used every dirty trick in the book, and so my win record remains spotless. But a man appeared and stood fast against that selfish me. I fought him in my usual manner and tasted my first defeat. I felt like I had lost everything because of that. And then it was my turn to sit in the defendant's chair. And I was saved by that person I called my enemy. I couldn't forgive myself for all that had happened, so I left the prosecutor's office. And I left that note. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth chooses death. As well you should have. The prosecutor who ashamed himself with defeat could crawl into a hole and die. But that was not what happened. After I left the prosecutor's office, I finally came to realize something. And it was in that moment of clarity that everything began to change. What foolish nonsense. We prosecutors use everything we can to attack the defendant. But every time we did so, no matter how desperate the situation, instead of giving up like most people, that man would hold strong with his undying faith. And then, before I knew it, I began to trust in that man as well. What? You trusted your enemy? It doesn't matter how many underhanded tricks a person uses. The truth will always find a way to make itself known. The only thing we can do is fight with the knowledge we hold and everything we have, erasing the paradoxes one by one. It's never easy. We claw and scratch for every inch. But we will always, eventually, reach that one single truth. This I promise you. Even though you have definitely gotten a lot of innocent people convicted.
The truth.
Yes, that's the reason why prosecutors and defense attorneys exist. But I'm sure you knew that already, didn't you, Wright? That's why you couldn't forgive me. This man who went into hiding, isn't that right? This man who only had his sights set on victory, who ran away into the night.
Oh, is Mr. Edgeworth right, Mr. Nick?
You really let me down. When you disappeared, I felt betrayed. The reason I decided to become a lawyer to begin with was because I believed in the things you said to me all those years ago. And you betrayed your own words. That's why, 1 year ago, I made up my mind. Gotta say, pretty bold move to hold Edgeworth up to the things he said when he was like 7 years old, you know? I feel like after a certain amount of time's passed, you can stop holding them to those words anymore. I decided that Miles Edgeworth I knew had died. At least that's what I told myself. You pathetic fool.
Miss Von Karma.
I don't want to hear the wretched whimpering of a disgraced loser. A Von Karma is someone who is destined to be perfect. Miles Edgeworth, you are no longer worthy. Neither are you, but, you know. You're no longer worthy of being a Von Karma. And neither am I. Well, Lucia, it's over. It's all over. Franziska threw something on the ground just now. This is an electromagnetic receiver, otherwise known as a dragon radar. Isn't that the thing she used to track Gumshoe? I'll return this to the precinct later. There's something else.
Ah, isn't that Miss Von Karma's whip?
I'll never set foot in another courtroom again. I'm sure that's what she's saying by this action. You should keep this, right? Okay.
Nick! Maya! Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
Oh, Nick, I knew you'd come through. You got on guard convicted like I knew you would. And on top of that, you even rescued me. Well, of course I did. You know I would never desert you, even though I was about to. But we sure pressed our luck this trial. You're really lucky to be standing here.
Whatever. Look, it's over, okay?
Besides, if I did croak, I'd just come back and haunt you like a bad ghost through Pearly. True, Mia died immediately and we haven't been able to get rid of her. Is it really that easy to do something like that? Thanks a lot, Nick. Don't mention it. Maya. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm relieved you're all right. Hey, it looks like you've made some real progress, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, I suppose I'm a little different from who I was a year ago. Heh. Alright. I think it's time we got out of this depressing place. Huh? Where are we going? Food, Nick. Food, grub, chow. I'm starved. I'm so hungry, even you look like a nice juicy burger on a bun to me, Nick. You think I look like a Borg, or I'm a prime rib at least? I don't know about that.
Come with us, Mr. Edgeworth, please.
Oh, if you insist. Alright, so how about we hit up our usual burger joint?
Don't be silly, Nick.
Huh? This case messed up that awesome evening and got in the way of my gourmet food. So I've decided we're going to make up for it by having another feast. Another feast.
Come on, Nick, food.
Hey, pal. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Gumshoe, are you alright? Yeah, but I'm really embarrassed. I didn't think I would hit a telephone pole of all things. A telephone pole? Then it wasn't a red light that got him?
You did it again, city boy. I felt like my dear old heart was gonna give out on me, and I ain't joking.
Yeah, it was more exciting than the very last episode of The Steel Samurai. Thanks.
Now looky here, Mr. Snooty Prosecutor, don't you reckon you bullied Mr. Wright too hard? If you don't start being a lot nicer to him, he might just kick it. Tonight, even.
I'll keep that in mind.
Well, come on now, everyone gather round. Y'all are gonna get your picture taken by a genuine professional photographer.
Looks like Lotta bought herself a new camera. Well, pal, at least we can put this messy case behind us now. Come on, tonight's all about eating, so let's go chow down, pal.
Amen to that, pal. Amen.
You know, when you think about it, you were the one who saved the day, detective. Huh? Me? You really think so? Yes, it's not even the first time. He's right. If it wasn't for the 3 items you took, I think this trial would have had a very different ending.
Ah, well, you know.
So, Huh? Wait, that's odd. When I ran off with the things from DeKiller's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things in total, sir. What? 4? Yeah, I'm sure I put one of the items in my coat pocket. There was a 4th item?
Ah, come on, y'all, it's over. But, whoo, boy, I tell you, you really are something else. Between getting accused of murder and getting kidnapped, never a dull moment with you, huh?
You think? Why does she look so happy about that?
But being shut away for 2 whole days, weren't you scared?
Yeah, it was really scary. I felt so hopeless. So to keep my mind off of things, I drew a picture.
Sounds like you had it rough, gal. So where's this picture of yours?
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see Mystic Maya's picture.
You know, I don't know where it went.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Well, that's alright. It wasn't very important anyway. I'm sure it's nice to see them both smiling again. What is it, Edgeworth? This thing is picking something up. Ah, that's Miss Von Karma's receiver. Thanks to her, I had the most awful experience of my life, sir. I can't believe she stuck a tracking device on me. That's odd, even though you're standing right here. The tracking device seems to be in a different location. Oh, it's probably busted or something, sir. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm afraid it's about time for me to excuse myself. I still have some work to do.
Huh? But Mr. Edgeworth, you haven't even eaten anything yet.
And you've eaten way too much, you glutton. She hasn't eaten in 2 days. I had fun tonight. Now, if you'll excuse me. Wait. What? I just want to say, thanks, Edgeworth. You really saved me out there. If anyone should be saying thanks, it should be me, right? I feel words alone here aren't enough. If there's anything I feel to show, anything I can give him to express how I feel, the attorney's badge. What's this? It's my way of saying thanks. I see. Well, it's the thought that counts. Guess I'm not very good at showing my appreciation. I just assumed it would be that because it was that last time. You don't need to thank me. I was only doing my job. Disappointed. Yes, Pearly?
I guess you two can go back to being lovey-dovey, right? You and Mr. Nick, I mean.
Pearly? Would you cut it out already? You're embarrassing. Anyway. So, who's paying for this lovely dinner party? As if you need to ask. Everyone say thank you to Nick. Huh? Yeah, I'm kinda at the point where I can't even buy instant noodles, pal. So I kinda already put your name on the bill. Huh?
Yeah, I got me a situation just like that myself. There's this camera shop in this hotel, you see, and I just bought myself this good old beauty here. It better be anyway for $3,000.
Huh?
Actually, I reckon you bought it for me since it's on your tab and all.
Huh?
Isn't that great, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, Nick. Why do I suddenly feel like screaming?
You don't need to hold back now, you hear?
Yeah, pal. Time to let it all out.
This is gonna be your first time I hear the real you.
Go on, it's been a while since I heard you say it. I've been busy being a hostage and all. Alright then, if you say so.
Objection!
We did it. We saved the city, but there's gonna be a post-credit scene, so we have to stay. You really came through for me, Nick. I had to hide that letter, but I knew you'd find it. I really feel like I've been living on the edge lately. I mean, I've escaped death 3 times now. Pretty cool, huh? I feel like a pro.
I'm so happy that you could save Mystic Maya, Mr. Nick. I'm so happy for the two of you. Speaking of which, I think this hotel is a popular place for honeymooners. So I sort of made reservations for the two of you, just in case.
Well, pal, it looks like I'm back on the force again somehow. Mr. Edgeworth had a long talk with the chief, and he got me reinstated for my sake. I heard he said things like, letting that one go is bad for all of society. I knew it. Crashing headlong into everything is the only way to live, pal. Gumshoe's still a real one. True hero of the game, twice. I, Maggie Bird, am retiring this uniform as of today, sir. I'm going to be a waitress from now on. And bring smiles and joy to the people who come to the restaurant, sir. I hope you'll stop by sometime, Mr. Wright.
Yes, are you here to visit a patient? I'm the director, Harty. Oh, recently, yes, that girl, I haven't seen her around. Yes, but I remember, if I even laid so much as an eye on her, I would go crack. It would go crack. It didn't matter if I got whipped, though. Yes, oh.
Fuck that guy. It's time to begin our quest of world circus domination, sweetie, and to let the world know we are serious, I plan to make fabulous flight to Zimbabwe.
Hey Max, what do you think Zimbabwe is like? Do you think there are castles made of cake and bunnies who can talk?
I think if there are any talking bunnies, even they won't laugh at Mo's jokes. Had to get one last one in against Mo. Mo did nothing wrong. Justice for Mo.
I'm ready. There's no way these jokes are gonna fall on deaf ears. I'm gonna be more contemporary with my home humor. Mo Curls represent. We got our new act all worked out. Time for a Hallelujah chorus. Say something, will ya? You're supposed to start this off. Get on with it. What's this? Drat, it's just an ordinary electric razor recharging on its stand. I can't believe this. Really, how long do they plan on making me do this? But it's Edgy Poo's idea, so that means it must have a deep hidden meaning. But why did I get the feeling they wouldn't forget about me, would they? It was never like this in the old days. Everyone thought the world of me. They used to call me Queen Wendy and treat me like royalty. Who haven't heard this is going to be a pain for my heels. I'm going to burn. And speaking of burn, play with fire is very dangerous because of the sort of burn down. Got a huge stink that.
Right. I appreciate everything you and Mr. Edgeworth did for me from the bottom of my heart. Oh, that's right, I received a letter from Miss Von Karma. She said that after I get out, I should feel free to consult her about anything at all. I'm really thankful to have met everyone. I don't remember that either. Now I understand why people are so into shipping those two. There might be something in the third game as well. Adrian shows up again. It has become difficult for me in this country as of late. As such, I will take a short leave of absence. If you would like to request my services, please be sure to visit my homepage. May we both be blessed with longevity. Rest in peace. Where are you going, Franziska? How did you know I was here? With this. That's... I heard you were planting things on a certain person. Things like tracking devices in his coat, for example. That's just like you. I only planted it there because he was always wearing it. This filthy drab coat of his. I don't know how it ended up in my luggage. But it's going in the trash, I promise you that. Oh, that's right. Speaking of that man, he told me something very interesting. When I ran off with the things from the killer's hideout, I'm sure I took 4 things in total, pal. 4 things? It seems he put the last one in his coat pocket. He put it in here? It doesn't matter anymore. The case is already over. What are you going to do now? That's none of your business. Are you running away? Shut up. You don't understand a thing. You can't possibly understand what it means to be Manfred von Karma's daughter. Franziska. So many expectations from everyone around me. Expectations I must fulfill. I'm expected to win no matter what. And failure? Such a thing is not an option for me. My father was a genius. There's no doubt about that. But me, I'm no genius. I've always known that. But I had to be one. I had to. You may not be a genius like your father, but you are a prosecutor. You have been and always will be. No, I'm not. Not anymore. I've even thrown my whip away. Ugh, right. You were supposed to give me the whip. Ah, fuck. You haven't changed a bit. You've always left me alone and walked on ahead without me. Miles Edgeworth, I've always hated you. And then, finally, my chance to take my revenge on you arrived. If I could win against that man, if I could make Phoenix Wright bow down in defeat, then this girl you left behind would have risen higher than you. That was supposed to be my revenge. I see. You know, I can't do it. I can't change who I am. I can't throw away everything I've been until today. I believe you can. Just like how Adrian Andrews did. Adrian Andrews? You were going to use her during the trial, right? But you were dependent on your father by using his tactics, isn't that right? Today, you chased after me, after I had left you behind all these years. And that's why we're standing here now, side by side. But I have no intention of stopping. If you say you're going to quit your walk down the prosecutor's path, then this is where we part ways, Franziska von Karma.
I'm Franziska von Karma. Don't think I'm gonna walk in your shadow forever. Our battle begins now, so you better prepare yourself, Miles Edgeworth.
Phoenix Wright. One day, someday, I'm sure we'll meet again in battle. Until then, this last piece of evidence that never made it to you, I'll take good care of this fourth piece, so I can give it to you when at last we meet again. Alright, now that was cool and all, but it's time to play my favorite game. The one with my favorite prosecutor. Finally. It's finally time.